So this is Baruch Fleischman. I am going to bring us once again to Jewish astrology, a cosmic science, Torah, Talmud, and Zohar works. As I think about this, I think this is one of the most phenomenal books that I've gotten into, and that's the reason why I wanted to bring it to everybody. You know, I'm always looking for chavrusas, and right now I've gotten to a place where it's like knowing too much. You know, it's very difficult to disseminate these ideas. That's what I'm trying to do, because that's so very important in this time of difficulty that the Jewish people find themselves in. And it's going to get deeper until we find our way out. I'm trying to help over here. Well, this man, YAAKOV KRONENBERG, not a rabbi, tremendous producer, a tremendous scholar. And originally I read the book like 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure if I got through the whole thing, but 2 or 3 times. And it always seemed to me like there was too much in the book. Then I started saying it over, and I realized it's not too much. It's fantastic. He explains, first of all, the difference between astrology, which deals with the 7 planets, and Jewish astrology. Common astrology and Jewish astrology have a lot of agreement in terms of what the astrology, but the differences are, one, in being the precision of it, because we're not trying to say that we understand and can control, because that's part of idolatry, of Santeria, or what they call voodoo. That's where you try to actually control the forces of the universe and apply them. Well, usually, because these forces are dangerous, they're full of gevuros, and usually that's what's involved with it. I met a few to these people. Not that I talked to them or found out about their religion or what they're doing, but of course, in my work, but way back when in the Latino world and in the Haitian world, it's very common. He went through that and explained the difference between the Gentile approach and the Jewish approach to astrology. In the Jewish approach, we're talking about what in Kabbalah is called the Chabad, or the Chochmah, Bina, and Das. To bring the Chochmah, Bina, and Das into our lives and be able to understand what's going on, because that's beyond the physical world. But in the Gentile astrology, we only deal with what's happening in the physical world, not what is the cause of all of those things. That's important every place. And now we got into the permutations of the name YAAKOV, which comes out to be 12. And so you see the 12 tribes, the 12 flags. You see all the number 12, the 12 months of the years, the 12 constellations. The number 12 is really, really a big one. And when you start permuting these and seeing that every month has a different constellation or different combination, that's the word I wanted, the different combination of the name YAAKOV, there are 12 of them. Each one of us shows that the light of Hashem, which is beyond our ability to be able to understand those, shines through the gears of heaven, because the heaven is in relationship to the earth is moving, the earth is turning, the orbit, we have an orbit, we have all different kinds of things happening, but they're happening in relationship to the cosmos. And it is this Chabad, Chochmah, Bina, Das, what actually causes it to work. So now we're continuing on with this number 12, trying to understand what's playing here. So we're at chapter 8 now, and what we're talking about here now is the 12 tribes. So here's another 12. And so he says in the chapter 7, we talked about how you order the tribes. In other words, what is the proper order according to the tribes that should be counted. Though there are a number of different texts of the Sefer Yetzirah, we will be using the Gaon of Vilna, and he recommended this to me, the Rizal version, which was considered to be the most accurate. So the Sefer Yetzirah, of course, is about building houses, about the original concept of building. So we had a problem, and I've been thinking about it a lot. Because if you look at the text of the Rizal, which is the text of the Vilna Gaon, and Rebbe Yaktila, I'm not sure to pronounce it, whose writing we began studying in the last class, and we'll come back to them later. It seems to be the accepted text which is used today, and I'm going to read the first Mishnah in it, because we have done it and looked at it before, and it says the following. There are 12 simple letters, which are He, Vav, Zayin, Ches, Tes, Yud, Lamed, Nun, Samach, Ayin, Tzadik, and Kof. So there's 12 of them. Now, why they're the simple letters, I'm not sure. And now the text will go on explaining how each of these letters is connected to a different sense, a different power of the soul. The first of these letters, which is the letter He, let's take the first one, he says, represents the sense of speech. The second of these letters, which is the letter Vav, represents the sense of thought, thinking. The third letter in this group, which is the letter Zayin, that's a Z, represents the sense of motion or walking. The fourth letter in this group, which is the letter Chet, represents the sense of seeing. The fifth letter in this group, which is the letter Tet, represents the sense of hearing. The sixth letter in this group, which is the letter Yud, represents the sense of action. The seventh letter in this group, which is the letter Lamed, represents the sense of intercourse or cohabitation. The eighth letter in this group, which is the letter Nun, represents the sense of smelling. The ninth letter in this group, which is the letter Samach, represents the sense of sleep. The 10th letter in this group, which is the letter Ayin, represents the sense of anger. The 11th letter in this group, which is the letter Tzadik, represents the sense of sipping and drinking. And the 12th letter in this group, the last one in it, which is the letter Kof, represents the sense of laughter. Now this is all coming through the Arizal, through this Sefer written by Avram Avinu 4,000 years ago approximately. We're still carrying it today, and these concepts of these letters. Now, what does this mean? So now the Sefer Yetzirah is giving us the order of the letters and how they are connected with a set of sense functions of the body. Now remember, we had this concept here. This is that the changes of the name, the permutations of the name Yud-K, Vav-K, actually have to do with the sense of what's coming down towards us. But he says that what's actually stimulating this are letters. We've seen this many times before. Function of the body or actions of the body. And so, in the next couple of Mishnayos, these letters are going to be connected to three different things. And you have to remember that Sefer Yetzirah is based on the following three things. He says, what are these three things? And looking for a definition of these three things, they are called Olam, which means the world, could mean the hidden world, Shana, which is like a year, or Shana has multiple meanings, and Nefesh is the last one. So if Olam is pure physicality, Shana also means change, and Nefesh, and which is spiritual, which is a soul of physicality, which means, so now he translates, which means world or universe as he calls it, year, which is Shana or time, and soul. So we understand soul. It is everything that happens in the universe, everything that happens in the year, in time, and everything that happens inside of the person. So he's relating this, that's difficult. He's relating this to letters, to these particular letters that we just went through. So in the next couple of Mishnayos, is going to be explained how these 12 letters are in terms of the world of time. They are related to time, which is the 12 months of year. It starts with the first month, which is Nisan in the Hebrew calendar, which is springtime. In other words, it starts from the springtime and it goes forward, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, and so on and so forth. It goes into the summer, and the fall, and into the winter, and back to the spring again. So let me see what, and in the world of the universe, these 12 letters represent the 12 constellations. So the letters themselves, he says they represent. It is that the light of Hashem shines through these 12 letters and produces these 12 constellations from Aries through Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, etc., to Pisces, all the way to Pisces, which is the end of the winter time. So each month has a particular constellation. And the third is the characteristic in the soul, Nefesh, what they call the senses, or the directors of the soul. And we, as have seen before, there are 12 different senses, and they are inside the soul. And they start with the sense of speech, and therefore the first month of the year is the month of speech. Because there are Olam, Shana, and Nefesh, there is an Ol, which is the world, the Shana, which is the year, and Nefesh, which is spirituality, which means universe, time, and soul. So it says it again for us. Universe, time, and soul. So Shana is the word year, but it means a certain amount of time. And Nefesh, of course, refers to the soul, and they are connected to each other. They're all connected. So how this work? Where is he going? What are we understanding? So the first month of the year, which is the first month of springtime, which is Aries, he's going to let him explain, will be Nisan. And parallel to that, you have the constellation of Aries in the universe, and the sense of speech is the sense of the human body, which is connected to the soul. But it is interesting that the Sefer Yetzirah doesn't mention the 12 tribes of Israel, doesn't talk about them at all. We don't see any mention of the 12 tribes in Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation. So when the time came to acquaint these functions with the 12 tribes, there was a problem regarding the question of what the order of the tribes would be. Because the standard order, the order according to the first time we see the listing of the tribes, is in the beginning of the book of Exodus. That's where we start seeing that there's 12 tribes. These are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt, and there the order is going according to the 4 different mothers of the Jewish people. Because in Judaism, the 3 fathers are Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The 4 mothers are Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. Abraham gave birth to Yitzchak, but he had other children who went off. They were not able to stay close to the Torah. Yitzchak gave birth of Yaakov and Esau, and Esau went off. He wasn't on it, that he's powerful in this world today, but he's not in the Torah vein. And Yaakov had 2 wives and 2 concubines. So the tribes of Israel originated from one man, Yaakov, and from 4 women. So these 4 women were Leah and Rachel as Yaakov's wives, and who were 2 of the mothers, and their servants were Bilhah and Zilpah, who gave birth to 4 of the tribes of Israel. So that is how we have the 12 tribes of Israel, from 1 man and 4 women. So in the book of Exodus, so we have 1 man, 4 women. So the book of Exodus, the 12 tribes are listed according to their mothers. It obviously starts off with the children of Leah, because the first children of Yaakov were birthed by Leah. So I would like to quote for the beginning of the book of Exodus. And these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt with Yaakov. Each man and his household came there: Reuben, Shimon, Levi, and Yehuda, Issachar, Zevulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls who were born from Yaakov were 70 people in all. And Joseph, was already in Egypt. So we see here that it looks like they were listed here according to their mothers, as you see the order, and you can compare them to the births which are listed as well. So if we look at the order of the tribes here, we see something which is very interesting. We see that the tribes are listed here according to the wives and concubines of Yaakov. Basically, it is according to the order of the time the mothers gave birth, but is different regarding Rachel. Now let's see, what is he trying to say here? In other words, that one child came after the next. This is because Rachel was a wife of Yaakov, not a concubine. So her son Benjamin is mentioned here before the sons of the concubines. So we put the tribes of the tribes that came out of Leah and Rachel first. So Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Issachar, and Zevulun were the sons of Leah, and they are listed according to the order of their births. Then Benjamin is mentioned because he was the son of the other mother. He's not actually in the order of that they were born, Rachel, but he's one of the principal wives. This list leaves Joseph, the other son of Rachel, out. Why? Because, as mentioned later, Joseph had already been in Egypt, and therefore he is mentioned at the end. And mentioning Binyamin here together with the sons of Leah also emphasize here that Yosef belongs to this place too, in the order of birth, and actually Yosef was born before Binyamin, so had Yosef been mentioned here, he would be mentioned just after Zevulun and before Binyamin if you were taking it in exact order. And that would be the proper order for the children of Rachel, first Yosef, then Binyamin. So the number of children which Leah and Rachel gave birth to is altogether 8. And then the Torah lists the 4 children of the concubines, Dan and Naphtali, were the children of Bilhah, the servant girl of Rachel, and Gad and Asher were the children of Zilpah, who was the servant girl of Leah. So let's keep going on a little bit more as time permits. So he says, so we see here that the order in which the 12 tribes are listed is according to their mothers. And this is very interesting because when you go to the other place in which the tribes of Israel mentioned, which is the books of Numbers, also in Hebrew called Bamidbar, you see that the order in which the tribes are mentioned is different. And we see in Sharei Ora, written by Rabbi Chaktila, that he lists the tribes according to the order in which they are mentioned in the book of Numbers, not in the book of Exodus. And there the tribes are listed differently than they are listed in the beginning of the book of Exodus. So let us look again at how the tribes are listed in chapter 2 of the book of Numbers. And it is important because the rabbis want to use that order in Sefer Yetzirah. In any case, let us briefly see the text because I would like to introduce a new idea which I found before we go deeper into the text. That's going to be the shir right now, and we'll see if we can put this into the next shir. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kollel.